the beautiful harvest moon.
You have made it, everybody. It is season 2 of Let's Talk Phys Ed. I am joined, as always, with my co-host, Tanner Rose. I am Jason Steele, my co-host, Tanner Rose, right here. Tanner, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Hi, everybody.
So this is where you talk now, Tanner.
Oh, this is where I talk. All right, that's how season 2 is going to work. All right, this is an exciting day for us because, I tweet PE, they renewed our contracts because, they said we should keep doing this for one more year at least. I want to say thank you to our guests last year. We had Justin Schleider, we had Captain Pete Charette, we had Matthew Bassett, Christina Politeco, Stephanie Morris, Mike Chincola, Mike Morris, Jorge Rodriguez, Sarah Gettier-Hartman, all of you guys, thank you so much. Without you, the show wouldn't have happened. So thank you.
Yeah, and, this is this year is so amazing. We've got such a great lineup already for this season. Just in 2018, we've got Judy Lobianco, we've got Jim DeLine, Brandon Herwick, we have Ross Chakrian, Becky and Mark Fulmer. We've got both Fulmers will be coming in, 2 of them, Artie Kamaya. We've got Ryan Ellis, Stephanie Sandino. We've got Carly Wright, Mike Graham, Mike Martinez, and Annie Milne. And that's just in 2018. That's not even counting 2019. So super excited for our season of Let's Talk Phys Ed. And then, what else do you got for us, Tanner?
I don't know. Well, let's see. You had a pretty exciting summer. Just recently, we found out that the 2018 SHAPE North Dakota Elementary PE Teacher of the Year was you. So congratulations to that. That's super exciting. It's really big news. You definitely deserve this.
I appreciate it, and that's why I kept the beard so I wouldn't blush on national YouTube TV. But you've had a big year too. New job or something, right?
Yeah. So since last we talked, I switched school districts. I didn't have to move. My kids go to a neighboring school district, and now I'm in a new school district. I'm in Lynn Grove Elementary School. Go Lions now.
Go Lions. Well, we're the Panthers over at Perkett, so
I used to be the Cougars.
Better than Lions, so
yeah.
So obviously everybody's sitting here and they're like, yeah, okay, we get it. You two, we don't care about you two. We want to know who this guy is. And our first guest of season 2 of Let's Talk Phys Ed is the one, the only Jamie Sparks. He's the SHAPE America president-elect. Jamie, how are you?
Great, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to be on, and great to hear the amazing guests you had last season, and certainly got an amazing lineup of folks coming up. So I look forward to participating tonight, but most importantly, listening the rest of the season.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Can you tell us a little bit about your summer? Kind of what you did. I know. We had a chance to meet, so if you want to weigh in on that a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a great summer. I've spent the last 8 years at the Department of Education here in Kentucky, and actually resigned from that position in May. Our grant was coming to an end. So I, too, am transitioning into I've been serving as our executive director for our state association, CAPER. So doing that more in a full-time role for the next 5-6 months and launching some new things. But this summer, it was the first time, coming out of the classroom and going to the Department of Ed. June and July are our busiest times. And so the last 7 summers, basically, I haven't got to enjoy a true teacher's summer, so to speak. And so this year I traveled a lot with my kids and my girlfriend, and we got to go a lot of really cool places, and got some important work started as well. And of course, the SHAPE America, being in that role on the board, that's a full-time, not full-time pay, but full-time commitment as far as keeping up with stuff, reading and what's going on in the field, and keeping up with calls and things like that. So while in transition, still very busy.
Excellent. This is kind of the part of the show now where we ask all of our very extremely important questions. Some of these questions are phys ed related, let's talk phys ed. hashtag Let's Talk Phys Ed. And some are not phys ed related at all. Some of them are extremely stupid. And it's just for viewership. So if you feel like you don't want to answer, you can pass, so that everybody knows, and probably everybody does who watches the show. Jamie has never seen these questions. He has no idea what's coming. Hopefully we don't embarrass him too much. We more than likely will embarrass ourselves, because that's
part of the show,
is to watch us embarrass ourselves. And so we're going to jump right into those questions. The first one, like I mentioned before, Jamie and I, we had a chance to meet this summer. We met in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We were at the Sally Sure Leadership Summit, and I sat down right to his right. We were sitting in those nice comfy chairs watching a movie or watching the show, and he had no clue who I was. I knew who he was right away, which was really creepy, I thought, when I was like, hey, I follow you on Twitter. I think is the first thing I said to him, other than, hey, can you pass the chocolate, was, hey, I follow you on Twitter. And then like 30 seconds later, all of a sudden I had a follow from Jamie Sparks. So can you tell us a little bit about how the Leadership Summit went, what your favorite parts were, something that you took away from it? Just talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah, it was great to get to spend a few days there in Sioux Falls with the folks from Central District, or the Central District states, and just amazing leadership and state leaders there and district leaders, and just an amazing town, city. The work that Central District has been doing with Sanford Health, just amazing. Definitely, I was blown away by the facilities there in Sioux Falls and the commitment to by Sanford Health. For the appreciation that they have for health and physical educators, and to come and work with the state leaders like they are, and supporting the state associations. And I think that's a great model that every state and every district should be looking at, because I'm a firm believer that we are the front line in healthcare, and oftentimes we're not a part of that conversation. So kudos to Central District and Sanford Health, and thank you guys for the invite up there.
Absolutely.
That is an amazing building. Sanford's awesome. They're great for our PE community. So now, going back to our show here that we talked about, all those guests we had earlier, what was your favorite moment of last year's Let's Talk Phys Ed? I'm assuming you've watched every one of them.
Oh, every single episode. That's definitely, I'll watch for it to come out on Twitter and get the link and do that. Actually, I'll admit I'd seen it, and I think that's one of the things in today's world that's great, but it's also a challenge. Is there are so many different channels of information and communication. And while that's a great opportunity to get more communication and more outreach, it also makes it hard to be strategic in communication, because you got to use so many different channels. And so, that learning process, and I think that's where associations are trying to find their vibe right now, is how do you invest in things like social media and people that really know how to stay connected. And, and we certainly try to do that as well. And so I think it's, once Jason mentioned it to me, that when we were there in Sioux Falls, I was able to learn a little bit more about it then. But yeah, until I got on here tonight just a few minutes ago and said, hey, we're not going to give you prep on these questions. Here they come. So, all right, I like it.
So you ended well. I thought you were doing a really good job of dodging that question, but then you ended it really well. So good job. So we mentioned before that you're the Shape America president-elect. Do you have any major plans, or can you speak a little bit about what you would like to implement, what you think is extremely vital for us as physical and health educators to put in place when you do take over as the president?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely obviously a lot of big transition change that's coming on all levels as a result of the former relationship we had with fundraising and the fundraising partnerships that we had. But I also think with that brings tremendous opportunity. And so I think it really allows us for the first time in a long time to think outside the box and think about what it means. One of the things that Judy did at our board meeting in Reston back in August is right between her and Stephanie at the front of the room, and in the boardroom was an empty chair. And we had a sign on that reminding us that in that empty chair, every conversation, everything that went on in those 2 days, we need to keep our focus on the member and what that means and the decisions we make for the individual member. And I think for too long in this field, there's so many needs out there. We have too many of our teachers having to buy their own equipment, to pay for their own professional development. And I believe that is our biggest opportunity. Is not only can we create some fundraising opportunities and programs that will support the states, the districts, and Shape America, but most importantly, I think the biggest beneficiary has to be the teacher in the school that has the most needs. They are the front line. And so I truly hope that while we're having to pilot some stuff and get it rolled out and make sure we get it right as a national organization, I think in the end, that is what's really going to redefine the association at all levels, from the most local teacher all the way up to the national level, and having a beneficiary relationship where it's a win-win for everybody.
That's great. So what do you think our biggest strengths are, and what do you think maybe some of our weaknesses are as a physical education field?
Just to answer that quickly, our biggest strength is undoubtedly our passion in being difference makers, in knowing that how vital we are for student success, and student success not only immediately in that school setting and improving those academic outcomes, but also that trajectory that we create for students for a lifetime. So I think that is the power of our community. I think the movers and shakers that are in this field, that's that intrinsic motivation that we have. And I think that is something that sets our profession apart. One of my favorite things to say to our field is, we're one of the few professions. You think of all the things that are prioritized in your school or in your education setting, we can look every student in the eye and say, no matter who you are, no matter where you go, no matter what you become in life, you will use what I teach you every single day. There's not a whole lot of other teachers that can guarantee that. Now, while our education system doesn't always prioritize that way, I think we are starting to make some strides in the conversations, in accountability, and I think we've got to continue to do those things. We've had tremendous success, but we've not had everybody on board. Imagine if some of the estimates we heard is 10, 15, maybe less than 20% of all health and PE teachers are a part of their state or national association. So think about the strides we've made with that few of people. If we can get more people on board in advocacy and working at all levels to continue to push on that direction and what it is. So as far as weakness, I will say that, I think it's twofold. I think we tend to have the stereotypes of the old school PE teacher that rolls out the ball, reads the newspaper, however you want to frame that issue. And so that is I begin a lot of my keynotes with getting the elephant out of the room. Let's talk about that person, because your principal may have had that person, your superintendent, your elected official. So when we're talking about why kids need more of that, so that is a huge weakness that we have in our field and our profession. But we also tend to over-stereotype, because when I was talking about, there are certainly people out there that's the way they're taught, and no matter what we do, they're not going to change. That's the reality of it. But I also think there, as a result of No Child Left Behind and priorities, there's a lot of teachers out there in our field that have been left behind. And I think that's our biggest opportunity, is how do we engage those teachers in this new conversation? So while that is a weakness, we have so many people not involved, I think it's also a tremendous area of growth and opportunity to say, hey, look what we're doing, look what we're about, let's get more people on board with us. And so take that weakness and turn it into a strength for ourselves.
Yeah.
I like it, Jamie.
Fantastic. Very well put. And no offense to anybody else who's ever been a guest on our show, but that is probably the best answer that we've had to any question we've ever asked anybody. So two thumbs up. Great job.
All right.
Now we're going to be dumb again, because that's what we do on the show. Clearly the second best TV show of all time, because the best TV show of all time, we all know, is Let's Talk Phys Ed. But the second best TV show on TV of all time is The Office. I mean, if you disagree, I don't care. I'm assuming you've seen it, Jamie.
About as many times as I've saw this show.
Oh.
So,
all the time then, right?
Oh, every day, right?
In all 9 episodes.
Okay, so this question is going to be a little bit more difficult. Who do you relate to more, Jim or Dwight, and why?
Yeah, I'm afraid to answer this question. I will say that I've heard of The Office.
Oh man, boy, do you have a lot to learn about.
Apparently, I'm taking notes.
You know, the only other time we've had an office-related question, I'm pretty sure, was season 1, episode 1. So
There you go.
we're gonna bury this one.
I see. I watched that episode so long ago. I forgot to be prepared for this question coming back.
Right. Okay. So great job dodging that one. We'll move on to question 6.
All right. So I'm just curious, what color is your iTweet PE shirt, Jamie?
Oh.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
orange.
there is no preparation for this show whatsoever.
No, we do not prepare for this show at all.
Hiding matching clothing and everything. Wow.
Literally just push play and go, and people just watch it. I don't know why.
That's it.
Hey, why don't you tell everybody, Jason, about iTweet PE?
Yeah, so iTweet PE is our sponsor for the show. They give us exactly $0 for the show.
Yeah, I had to buy mine. That's weird.
But iTweet PE is it's a nonprofit project. It's a shirt company where all the proceeds from the iTweet PE shirts go to pay for equipment or supplies for a physical education teacher or a district or a school that suffers some sort of a loss. It might be a natural disaster of some kind. We are working right now in hopes to help with Brandon Wolf's trip to Puerto Rico. We're working on a shirt design with Paddle Slam and all those proceeds will go to purchase Paddle Slam equipment so that he can bring them to Puerto Rico. So we've got a couple projects in the works. So get out there, be like the 20th person to get your shirt. So
how do they get it?
They can go to itweetpe.org, various colors, sizes, and styles. So assuming, Jamie, that both Tanner and I make it to national conference, because Tanner has stated he will be there, correct, Tanner?
Yeah, I got permission.
That's his plan. I'm assuming you will be at the national convention, Jamie.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
You also got permission.
and I am still working on it. If I have to take sick days, if I have to take the train, whatever it may be, I will try super hard to get to the national conference. But assuming that all three of us are there and we're walking down the street, three of us together, hanging out, going to play some pool or some darts like we did in Sioux Falls, whatever the case may be, Tanner challenges us all to a foot race. Who wins? Who takes second? And who takes last? And why? 100-yard dash foot race between the three of us. First, second, last, and why?
Oh gosh, 100-yard dash. Thanks for clarifying. So I will go ahead and claim third on this one because I know better than I just hit the 4.0 this weekend, so I'm definitely past my sprinting days. So I will gladly do the slow jog and take pictures for Twitter to prove where the 1 and 2 follow out on this race. So I got to predict a winner on 1 and 2 there. So
You have to.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, I just see, and I'm going for. Let me see the mugs again. So you got matching shirts. You both got beards. So I got to have some. He's got the send a teacher mug, so I got to go with Tanner. I got to give my boy Andy a shout out. So there you go. I knew there's something that set you two apart, but
again, I swear to you, every episode, it's like our running joke on this show. I've never ever won a competition. Like either people actually watch the show and know that it's a running joke, or Tanner talks to them beforehand and says, "Listen, he's going to ask this question. You have to pick me. You can't pick him." I've never been selected.
Hey, everybody thought Mike Genicola was a better dancer than me.
Yeah, well, but see, that wasn't a setup question because that was actually a poll on Twitter. And so, it wasn't just one person's opinion. That's fine.
All right.
Sorry, it was Andy's mug. Blame it on Andy Milne.
That's fine. We're talking to him later this year. We'll
That's
discuss it. We'll discuss it. But when we are all at the national convention, we will have a foot race then, and I'll just prove that I am the fastest.
There you go.
It is nice to be younger than somebody, though, on the show. I don't know if that's happened very many times for me.
I am the youngest one here. Tanner.
All right. So we're going to try to end our show this year by doing something a little bit different than we maybe did last year. I want to know what the funniest thing that's ever happened in your classroom. Because everybody's got this one story that they're like go-to thing that they say, this happened to me my second year of teaching or whatever. I want to hear your funniest thing that happened.
Well, actually, ironically, it wasn't in my classroom, but the one education story I love to tell. I was doing my student teaching, and I take them the day off, and my wife at the time, she was a third grade teacher, and so she was going on a field trip, fall festival. They went to like a pumpkin farm, had a little petting zoo, and so she was it was a small classroom that she was in charge of. So I got the 4 or 5 boys that were the most needy, the ones that acted the most like me as a third grader. So I was chaperoning them, and we got to the animal farm part of it. And, so I told the boys, be careful when we go in. Here's the rules, blah, blah. So it's one of those things where you repeated the same rule 3 or 4 times. And, I said, don't go petting the animals, blah, blah, blah. And the one boy that that you needed that several times, he went running up to the llama and literally was like, hey, llama, 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 hey. And like, if I would have loved to have a video, because it was like the llama just paused, looked back, and literally just spit right between his eyes, and it just like came down. And it was like one of those teachable moments of like, that's kind of what I was telling you about. So that's the one that always stands out, that I'm sure a lot of teachers over the years would like to have a llama experience similar to that. And I know the kid to this day, and he still remembers that. So,
well, and it's natural consequences, right? Like he probably to this day has never ran up and yelled at a llama.
That's it.
So he learned his lesson. So hey, you made it through all the questions. You made it through the episode. Now, can you tell us a little bit about how to get in contact with you if needed? Can you tell us, do you have a website? Do you, your Twitter handle? Are you on Facebook, et cetera, et cetera? How can people follow you or get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I am on Twitter at Jamie Sparks, CSH. So my background is coordinated school health, so I've got the CSH on there. I'm also pretty active on Facebook, involved in a lot of health PE Facebook groups. And then our state, and again, very involved in our state association. So all of my contact information, email, cell phone, all the above is on our state website. As executive director for CAFER, then pretty accessible from that as well. So love to hear from the field. Stay pretty active. Listening to the Voxer chats, President Judy has a Voxer chat, and then we got some other ones out there. So I don't respond a lot on Voxer, but I listen a lot. I enjoy Voxer, especially when I'm in the car, so I'm not distracted. I can hit play and listen to it. But so yeah, definitely out there on the social media channels, and love to hear from the field.
Excellent. And you got like 30 more seconds. Anything else you want to let everybody know or say or apologize for? You want to
show us the secret talent?
No secret talents. No secret talents whatsoever. I just appreciate the opportunity and look forward to following the show this season. And I promise to stay up to date on this show. I can't promise about The Office, but I'll work on that in my goals.
Hey, wait, you don't have to stay up to date on the second best show ever. You just have to stay up to date on the first. So.
All right. Fair enough. So, I typed in the address. I'm ready to order my shirt. So there you go.
Fantastic. Well, this is the part of the show where we have to say goodbye because we're running out of time. We try to keep it short for everybody, but I think we started season 2 off with a bang. Jamie, we really appreciate you joining us. And again, I'm Jason Steele, and with me as always, Tanner Rose. Tanner, have a good one.
Hey, yeah, thank you, Jamie.
Jamie, thank you. Bye, everybody.